Sunday school this morning as well. So it's freezing in here. My hands are really cold. I know I'm probably the only one, because I usually am always the only one, and usually I just get told to eat a little bit more and I'll be fine. I eat a lot, just so everybody knows. You don't really need to know, but anyways, it's not my fault. Talking about perseverance this morning, and it's part of this series that Pastor Tim has started about the heart of the matter. And well, I guess most of you know that I have a hard time persevering past the 20-minute mark of a sermon. So what I've decided to do, I've got this new strategy. I found about 50 quotes on perseverance, and I'm going to read them all really slowly and just kill like the first 10 minutes of my sermon. Okay, maybe I only have like 30, but that's, anyway, so I'm not really going to do that. I would never do that to you guys. That would be really boring and take a long time. Anyway, moving on. I'm a pretty lanky person. I actually just recently discovered I'm an inch shorter than I thought I was, but still I've got really long arms and legs. I don't know if any of you have ever noticed that about me. I usually call them 8 arms. But yeah, I'm lanky. I've got long arms and long legs, and no coordination to go with that. But when I was younger, I decided, okay, I can't really play sports because I can't do the hand-eye stuff, and I'm not really good. I usually just get hit in the face with like the basketballs and the footballs and whatever. I've had a bloody nose or two over the years, just from not really seeing it as it's this close to my face, I suppose. So I figured I can't do the sports, but I've got long legs, and I think I could cover a lot of distance really quickly, or, at least run fast and stuff like that. So yeah, I decided to join cross country and see how that worked out for me. And it was okay. I learned something though, this one race that I did, and I think I was in middle school, or junior high, as I called it, when I was in Nova Scotia, junior high. And so there's this one race that I remember. And it was at this park called Point Pleasant Park. It was in Halifax. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that one before. And so it's this beautiful park. It's got rolling paths and hills, and there's trees everywhere, and just like a bunch of, it's very country-esque, I guess. The paths are just kind of barely paths. There's lots of rocks and roots and stuff like that for people like me to trip over, especially if she's running a race. I don't know. That was planned very well. But anyway, and so what I really remember about this race is it not being pleasant at all for the place that it was at. And anyways, and so I'm running this race and I'm getting ready to go, and I have it my whole life, and it was then too, and it is now, but I always just want to start so fast. No matter what I'm doing, I'm like, I'm ready to do it, I'm just going to go, and I'm just going to do it, and I'm just going to jump right in. And so even though it's cross country and I had like kilometers to cover, I was like, it's a race. I'm gonna run. And so I started running way too fast. And before you knew it, I was really, really, really tired. Has anyone run cross country before? Yeah, you gotta start off at a nice, good, steady pace, and I didn't do that. So anyways, I was tired, and I was pretty much doing something like a little bit faster than a walk by the end of it. I was thinking about it, I think it was like a plod. So it's kind of like a dance kind of thing. And so really a walk, but I just moved my legs a little bit higher so it looked like I was running. And I remember doing that, and I remember just gasping for breath and just being like, is this ever going to be over? And I remember this friend of mine who did it the right way, and she had stayed behind before, but now she was passing me, and she's running by, she's like, keep going, you can do it. And I'm like, I don't think I said a word, I just some kind of grunt of acknowledgement. And I remember seeing and hearing a few other people pass me, and of course that fills me with a little bit of, regret that I started off so quickly, and why didn't I start slower? And then finally, after a long time of plodding through the woods of this not so pleasant Point Pleasant Park, I remember seeing the finish line, and I remember seeing it was like running downhill. They planned that part well, so it was like the finish line was on a downward slope, and I was like, okay, if I just kind of let my body fall forward a little bit, probably eventually make it to the end of the race. I remember seeing my dad and my coach at the end cheering me on, "You can do it!" So I finally get across the finish line, and I don't think you're supposed to do this either, but I just collapsed. I didn't walk it off or anything, but there was the end, and here am I off to the side, gasping and heaving for breath and trying to drink water. I don't think I actually managed to drink any. And it was a hard race. And I didn't want to, but I kept going. I persevered. I don't remember if I stopped for a walk at any time. I hope I didn't. Maybe I'm just remembering that wrong. But the point is, I pushed through and I persevered. I think, and not to brag or anything, but I think I ended up coming in about 13th place out of 80-something kids or something. So it was pretty good considering I was a terrible runner. But yeah, I pushed through. So what is perseverance exactly? I looked this up because I like definitions. I like to see what the dictionary says about things, and it says perseverance is steadfastness in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. So essentially, we keep going, we keep pressing forward. No matter how tired, we get back up. No matter how many times we fall, we stand back up. Despite how difficult it might be, sometimes we don't even know what that outcome would be at the end. I didn't know if I was going to do well in the race. I could have come dead last in that race. But you have to keep going. We don't know, will we fall completely down? We keep going. We just persevere. I think it's so important to be able to keep going in times of trouble and times of difficulty. It does build character and helps us to realize that we aren't quitters, we can't quit, we just keep going. And so back to me for a second. This is all about me. That's a joke. I remember my first year here at Kingsway. And I was nearing the end of it. And it wasn't a bad year. I wasn't having a bad time. People have been welcoming and amazing to me from the minute I walked through these doors and encouraging. Pastor Tim, I've been so blessed to be having him as my pastor. He's taught me so much, and everybody here and the kids that I have, they're incredible. From serving in the service to worship to everything, it was amazing. It was a good year, but I was learning a lot, and people were nice. I think I maybe mentioned to you guys this before, but I have this thing about me. I think I like to call it the one-year itch. And after about a year, I get super restless, and I want to move on. And this has happened to me most of my young adult life, and I don't know what happens, but it's I just can't stay. I want to move, I want to go, I want new challenges. And I realized something too, and somebody helped me realize, maybe subconsciously, it wasn't just wanting new challenges, but being scared of the challenges that come after your first year. What happens in that second year? Can I handle that? Maybe subconsciously I was like, no, I don't think I want to. Maybe I don't even want to find out if I can or can't, or maybe I just need a new adventure, and I didn't want to stay. I didn't. It was August when I was really thinking about this decision, and I figured I'll make it to September, and I think I'm going to quit. Surprise, I didn't though. I just kept thinking I'm not cut out for this. Someone could do this better than I could. I kept asking God, why am I here? Am I even making a difference? I loved every single person in this church. I loved being here, but I just couldn't shake the feeling that, is this where I'm supposed to be? But I kept pushing forward for a while. Put off the decision. It's a scary decision to make, especially when, I didn't exactly have a plan for after. And leaving is hard. Sometimes staying is hard, but leaving is hard too. sister and my youth pastor back home, and they were encouraging me, no, Courtney, you do this every year. You get this itch and you want to leave, but you're in the right place. I know you are. And I believed them, but I wasn't convinced. And I think it was just because I didn't want to be. Sometimes trying can be the most trying thing ever. You'd rather just not. Anyway, so one afternoon in August, we had our worship staff barbecue or whatever, and it was at Les and Doris's house. They're not here this morning, I don't think. Anyway, and so I'm driving to Upham, which is far away and on back roads, and I don't remember which car I had at the time. It was probably one of my old, not nice cars that I had when I first got here. I'm driving along these back roads, and I had lots of time to think. And I'm driving and thinking. I'm like, I'm so ready to be done. I was talking to a friend, and I'm like, I think I'm just ready to be done. I can't be here. And did you ever notice that sometimes when you're making the decision to keep going or to not keep going, there's a couple different sides. Some people are saying, keep going. Some people are saying, it's okay if you don't keep going. I don't know that it's always that they mean harm, but maybe sometimes you just find the person that you know will support you in a bad decision. And so anyways, I finally get to this barbecue, and all these thoughts have been swirling in my head pretty strongly that whole day. And so I get a plate of food, which always helps because usually I'm pretty emotional when I'm hungry. So I'm eating, and I guess maybe I'm starting to feel better, but I'm standing in the kitchen of this place, and I'm talking to Trent Pomeroy. I might cry. And I don't even remember why it came up, but I remember somehow confessing to a youth parent that I didn't know if I was supposed to be here. Was this the place I was supposed to be? And I didn't know. Sorry. If I was making a difference. Were my efforts even doing anything? Were they worth anything at all? And was I supposed to be here? I thought it was for someone else. And so he actually happened to disagree with me. You did. So thanks. But you told me that I was making a difference in your daughter's life, and I didn't know how. I thought she was already an incredible kid, so I was like, what? She's, like, what did I do? I'm like, you guys did it. But that was what made me stick. His words that afternoon were the push that I needed to keep going, to persevere on this path that God placed me on. And you had no idea, I'm sure. It's not like I was like, wow, Trent, I was really thinking about quitting before you said those things to me. It's probably not the thing that a youth parent wants to hear from their youth pastor, casual Saturday afternoon barbecue. And, but you were used by God that day to help me keep going. So thank you. To both of you, actually. You've been huge encouragement to me over the past 2 years. You helped me to persevere. Countless parents and countless people in this church have helped me to keep pushing. So, waterworks, hopefully done. And you know, as I wrote out these words this week, I wondered how many of you could use your words to help others to persevere. Because we don't always know, like Trent didn't know I was going through that, but we don't always know what people are facing. This is an old thing. We never know the complete story of someone's life. We never know if the power of our words can either make or break a person. So how many of you could use your words to help someone push forward, to persevere, to keep going, to keep trying? And I wonder if any of you have been in my position where you just felt like quitting. anything, you're not a youth pastor or something, you might be up here if you were, but anything at all. Maybe you felt like quitting something. And it's a difficult place to be in. So I want to ask you if there's anything in your life that you are in the process of wanting to just give up on. It's not a fun thing to think about, because it means that we don't have strength for something. Or maybe there isn't anything right now, I don't know. Or maybe there was before. Or maybe you remember that feeling of wanting to just lie down, face to the floor, literally or not, I don't know. But no more steps, no more trying, no more moving forward, no moving at all, and you're just finished. And so maybe it was a person that you gave up on. Maybe it was a marriage, a relationship, a friendship. Maybe it was or is your job. Maybe it was or is your children, your passion, your calling. Is it you? Are you giving up on yourself, or are you giving up on God? There are countless things. And don't get me wrong, I'm not encouraging you to stay in relationships or marriages or things that are bad for you, that would hurt you, or toxic, but sometimes there are times when we do need to push through, to persevere. So it could be any of those things or something different. And maybe now, or maybe at some point in your life, you were just like, no, I'm done. I'm finished. That's it. Okay, so I actually do just have one inspirational quote this morning. Just one. Not 50, not 30, just one. It's kind of more thought-provoking than anything. And I read it, and I kind of just had to check myself for a second. It says, "The road to success is dotted with many tempting parking places." Okay, so you've decided to give up. And maybe for a while you're like, oh, you know what, this is really nice. This is restful. There's a nice little green pasture over here. Maybe there's like people there that you like. Maybe there's people who've decided to quit with you too, and you're all just quitting together. I don't know. Sometimes quitting, it feels good, but I don't think it feels good for any length of time, really. So I'm going to ask you this. On your journey, have you found yourself just sitting there enjoying the view at any time? No intention of moving on or forward, just the complete opposite of persevering. Maybe you're not quite there yet. Maybe you were kind of like me, where you were like hemming and hawing around the quitting decision. Close to giving up, but not quite. You wanted to throw in the towel, but you hadn't quite. It was still hanging around your neck. There was sweat dripping off of it. I don't know. But you weren't quite there yet. And the words strong and steady and steadfast and persevere, they were not appealing to you at all. They're not appealing to you. You can't see yourself doing anything worthwhile, let alone trying. So I want to let you in on a little secret when it comes to persevering. And it actually has really helped me along the years, because I've had days like this where all you need to do and all I needed to do is just show up. You just need to kind of clock in. You don't have to do anything. You might not even be like mentally there, but you haven't given up. You're just kind of, okay, I'm here, and that is all the strength I had. That was it. That's all I could do, is just get here. You're not a go-getter, but you're there. You don't feel like it. You're standing up. You don't want to stay, but you're staying. A friend of mine and I actually do this thing called slugging or snaking. And it's a really helpful thing, actually. So sometimes it mostly happens when you're sitting on your couch in your living room and you're feeling particularly lazy. And you know that you need to get up and maybe go get something from somewhere, And so I imagine life can be a little bit like this scenario. So what we do in this scenario is we just kind of like, we're sitting. So we're in the same position. I can't do it because I think Pastor Tim might be mad at me if I demonstrate it. But we're sitting and we just kind of slide off the couch. And then we're, on the ground, like completely on the ground. And then you slither and slug your way all the way to the place that you need to be. And you haven't actually done it in a great way, and you looked crazy doing it, but you did it, you got there. Slugging or sneaking, sometimes all you need to do is just slug your way forward. One slimy step at a time. And you get there. Sometimes perseverance looks a little bit like that, a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit awkward, but you've kept going. And that's accomplishment. That is not quitting, that's persevering. I'm doing pretty good. So as always, the Bible has a perfect example of perseverance. And there's this person in the Bible, and I'm sure that if I give you a few hints, you can guess him. So, first hint is that he has a whole book written for him. And it details pretty much all of the horrible, terrible things that have happened to him in his life, okay? And the next hint is that he had really terrible friends and a not-so-nice wife. He lost every single possession that he owned. And he lost he had 7 children, and they all died. And I just want to know, does anyone know who that is? Job. His story is awful. It's so awful. I was reading through it because, that's what you do when you're preparing a sermon. You actually read the text that you want to talk about. So I'm reading through this, and I'm thinking, gosh, this guy has the worst life. And so I just wondered how he managed to keep going, and it says this in Job. It says, in the land of Uz, I believe, there lived a man whose name was Job. And this man was blameless and upright, and he feared God, and he shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, it's a lot, 3,000 camels, it's a lot of spit, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, and he had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. So he's really wealthy. He was a good and he was a godly guy. He had everything going for him. And then, can you guys all say this for me? But then. Thank you. I appreciate that. And this is what I get my students to do when I feel like they're not paying attention, so I'm just like checking on you. Anyway. But then, in movies where like the bad guy shows their face and there's that music, it's like dun dun dun. This is what happens. This is what I picture is happening. And the bad guy, in this case Satan himself, shows his face, which is just awesome. I'm sure it's just bound to be a good outcome. And so it says in the Bible, one day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. Cool. Don't know why he thought he was welcome there, but that's fine. And the Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? And he answered the Lord, from roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it. And to me, I kind of imagine he said this like kind of smugly with like a little bit of a smirk on his face and like sarcastically and stuff. And so the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. And so Satan is like, yeah, but he has everything. What reason does he have to be angry with you or curse you or to be unhappy or anything like that? And so the Lord's like, okay, fair. Everything he has is in your power, but on the man himself, do not lay a finger. And so Satan, he takes him at his word, he takes God at his word, and he takes everything away. And so the passage goes on to read that messengers came by to Job. I think it all happened in one day. The way I'm reading it is just this terrible, awful day, one thing after another, one messenger after after another come up to Job and say, thieves stole all of your livestock. Everything's gone. All 7,000 of everything, all 3,000 of your sheep, your camels are gone, things are burned to the ground. Everything is completely gone. You have no wealth left. Nothing.